This abstract image will be like stress relief when you paint it on silk. In today's tutorial, I'm going to draw directly on the silk with a fading marker. By the way, two of my viewers sent me the exact name of the stuff you might want to find for yourself. As you already know, today's theme is abstraction. And first I draw a large circle. Naturally, it's not perfectly even, but if you want more precision, you can take any round object. And the second circle will hide behind the first one. And then I randomize these circles in any way I want. These two figures turned out to be at the same distance from the edge, and it's not very good for the composition. So I'm going to fix this mistake. As you can see, I place the figures rather chaotically. But in my opinion, the distances between the lines are better to vary. The abstraction can be drawn any way you want, however you feel like it at the moment. On these two corners, let there be squares and rectangles. In fact, I could have made the drawing lighter, but it went so well today that it turned out quite dense and full-bodied. I'm not going to show you the whole process of applying resist, but I'll show you a couple of important points. When I draw a circle, I use the edge of my palm as an anchor, the center of the circle, and I just rotate my hand around the center. That's the movement. It was about circles, but for drawing straight lines, I use a board like this. I'm not afraid of smearing the resist because my board stays above the surface of the silk. Due to the design of my frame, that is the height of the nails, but you probably have a different frame. In this case, you could just put a stack of books on each side of the frame and lay the plank on the top of those stacks. In this case, I lead the stationary hand along the plank in a movement from my shoulder. You can see the dies I'll be using today. While they're in the caps, their color isn't quite clear, but it's emerald cool green, yellow, my favorite crimson, bright blue. There's a very dark brown color here, almost burnt umber, and black, but of course any colors can be used. The circles are the center of my composition today, so that's where I'll start. And to designate this compositional center, I will try to make them more expressive, more bright and more active, attracting our attention. To paint such a drawing on silk is very easy and just one pleasure. Paints or dyes to use in this case is absolutely unimportant. In this tutorial, I would like to get a little closer to learning about composition. A bit later, I'll draw your attention to some things that seem important to me. I always have a paper towel handy to dry the brush, as I already said in the last video that I like to use small brushes. They run out of paint faster, so I need to take a new color soon, so I change colors more often and thus making the image more painterly, and that's my little trick. And as you know, I always use a palette to mix colors, like in watercolor painting or any kind of paintings. Sometimes I mix the color on the palette, sometimes directly on the silk. Sometimes I don't mix at all but use pure open color. In no way I'm insisting on my way of silk art. I'm just sharing my approach and experience. The idea for this abstract composition is inspired by the works of Sonia Delaunay. She has such a bold range, a very own idea of composition, and her art seems very textile to me. And maybe you'd like to find her artworks on the internet. And maybe you also would be encouraged. As you can see, there's nothing complicated about painting this composition. You just calmly take a color, mix or not mix it with another, and paint each individual section. You can do a uniform fill. You can do a gradient. For me, it's such fun and so relaxing. It's like meditation. No stress, just joy. The only thing to watch for is that the colors match. Right here within the same shape, compared to this shape, this area is lighter than this one, and here they have swapped places. In this one is darker and this one is lighter. At this place, I'd like to stop in more detail. Here I take crimson as the basis for these forms. And right on the silk I can change it to brown. I can take it to warm red, scarlet, but overall leaving a lot of crimson in this corner. And to make it more dynamic, I add a contrasting green. And I can first mute it with brown and then pull it forward again with a rich green, thus making the whole impression brighter and more varied. But further away from the compositional center, I don't need to continue in an active spirit, and so I paint the corner itself with a neutral gray. The color of the old rose can be made brighter by adding an open crimson color. This is the corner of our composition I'm going to make up to close colors. No contrasts on the dark-light scale or in color, just slight variations within the yellow-green range. This is a very light touch of the rules of composition. The idea is this: the compositional center, in our case two circles. They should be contrasting, bright, active, which means they should attract our attention. What is outside the compositional center, on the periphery, can be close in colors, in tone. The periphery serves to support the center, without drawing our attention away from the compositional center. I don't know if I managed to convey the thought. Please write me in the comments if my idea was clear. Your feedbacks are always very important to me. That's the alternation of contrasting with converging. It's now clear to me that this image looks better upside down.